is the
This is the
viaduct,
viaduct.
and this is a real landmark from Pensford, isn't it?
It is really, yeah.
Yeah, tell us a bit about that one, Acker.
Well, we used to get up on the top of there, not up there, but round the sides. And there was a gospel hall over there, gospel hut with a galvanised roof, and we used to try and get one of them clinkers they have on the lines. We used to try and get one down the chimney there with it.
And you managed to do it?
One or two did, yes. But a lot of them missed on the galvanised roof and they were all singing, you know. It must have been pretty devilish in there, I should think.
But you're a good man with a dial. I would have thought a chimney stack would have been a fairly simple target for a man of your prowess.
Yeah, but it's only about that big, and that's 100 foot up. I mean, that's a bit different to a dartboard, isn't it?
Well, Acker, this old bridge will stir a few boyhood memories as well.
Yep.
Because this was the village watering hole, or indeed swimming pool.
It was, yeah, that's right. Many of the time we used to go off of there. If you were really good, you used to go off the railing. Mind, the water was a bit more water then, but it was higher then, yeah.
When you return here, some of your old chums, the first thing they offer you is the odd rabbit or two.
Yes, that's right. I mean, there was old Don Corkshoe, what, a couple of 3 years back. I haven't seen him for 25 years, and his first words to me, I said, "Hello, Don, how you doing, mate?" Didn't say anything, he just said, "Want a rabbit?" His first words after 25 years, amazing. There's another old story about I used to get the shouts, you know, the guy next door, old Jimmer Duckett. They're all very proud, and if anything good in the garden, they take it down to the pub, you know. "What about Eden, Acker?" And you look over the edge, and there's an onion about a foot across, you know. I had to shout one day, this bean, runner bean. So I got down a bit early and said, a couple of them, I think, Jimmer will be down later with the beans. So we went up in the garden of the pub, picked about 20, 25 normal runner beans and cut the ends off and put a bit of wire in them, wired this 15-foot bean up on the bar. And sure enough, he come in with this bean. I can't tell you what he said, but he didn't speak to me for 3 months.
Acker, this is Covery Lane in Pensford, and it has a famous part to play in the early days of the band. Can you tell us about that?
Well, Covery Lane, yeah, it's about 100 yards long, actually, and we bought this...
And a dead end?
And a dead end. It goes into a field, yeah. And we bought this bus to rehearse in, and we had permission to stick it up there, see, and there's a guy living just here in the houses. The house is gone now, but he looked out the window, and this bus had no wheels. It was on a low loader, you know. It was about £1.50, I think, for this bus. It was a great idea for rehearsing, no seats or anything. And he saw it, we're trying to get it round this corner here, up here, and he said, "They're running buses up Covery Lane." He couldn't believe it. Where the bus stop was.
law-abiding citizen like you doing in a place like this?
Wow.
There are many people who still believe that the stories of actually learning to play the clarinet were in a jail, but in fact it's not a publicist's gimmick. You learned to play the clarinet while serving in a correction centre in the Canal Zone while you were doing your national service in the Royal Engineers.
Well, it's right up to a point, I suppose, Dave. But what happened, I got 3 months, 84 days for sleeping on guard. And after the sentence, you got to wait what they call confirmation of sentence from the OC troops, whoever he was. But they stuck me in a guard room at camp, which was great, you know. And I think they forgot about me for a bit. I was there a month. And I did have the clarinet in, and they were shoving bottles of beer through the hatch and all that, and fags, snout. You didn't bring any snout, by the way, did you?
While you were in the Canal Zone, you did, in fact, form a little band of, I think, the original Egyptian Stompers.
The original Egyptian Stompers, yeah. 6 tunes we finished up playing after nearly 3 years. That was good going, that. That's 2 tunes a year, mate.
Why this preoccupation for the clarinet? It doesn't seem to have ever been any other kind of instrument which has interested you in the faintest way.
No, that's strange. I don't know if there's anything to do, you know, with the war. When I was very young, they had the AFN, American Forces Network, which we always used to listen to. And unless the accumulator ran out, or we had a new battery, you know. But they used to play a lot of Benny Goodman, Artie Shaw, and I just sort of fell in love with the clarinet, I think. The clarinet sound, you know, terrific. That's a good ball. That's a good ball.
Well, this is a 200-year-old parlour game
I
called
don't believe that.
Devil Among the Tailors, but here in the Chew Valley it's table skittles. Oh! And as you can see, if Acker Bilk's fame is worldwide as a jazz musician, he's pretty good at this game as well. Maybe not a world champion, but probably in the world's top 10, Acker. And in fact,
Top 1,000, yeah.
you indeed had one shot, Acker's back four, which is named after your prowess.
That's right, in the Rising Sun it is. No, in the George and Dragon, sorry. That was the back four.
They're the back four. Now we wonder if that old skill has departed.
Well, I can tell you right now, it probably has. You want me to have a go? I doubt if I can get these now, mate. I used to win a few points on this.
Robert?
Yeah!
I hope you ain't got to do it again.
Can't do it.
Well, Acker, this is your spiritual ancestral home. We're in a pub in the Chew Valley with some of your chums from the village, your school days.
Terrific.
Dick Mizzen and Harold Bryan, Zane Sawyer. Dick, you were not a musician friend, but an old chum. You must have some lurid stories of the young Acker to tell us.
Well, I know a bit about him. But, you know, worked with him for a long time. First, I remember when the very first time I saw him, I was apprenticed in Cox's Machinery, and this chap walked in with his army battle dress on and his army boots and all suntan, and I thought, who's he? The bit I remember was when he traded this clarinet in, which was a flat, was it, or A sharp, or something? It was an A, wasn't it? Key of A.
Just A. I couldn't play sharp and flats.
Everybody was eventually he chopped it in up at Brown's for a B flat, which I remember well.
Well, you took him on your motorbike.
We used to go up Friday dinner hours on the motorbike. Used to pay us 10 bob a week.
10 bob a week. What a memory you got.
I remember it well. I think it was about 21 quid the clarinet. Wasn't it?
That's dead right.
Would that be right? Yeah.
Either that or 18.
Yeah, something like that. He owed them about 11 quid, and it took about 9 months to pay it off. But,
wonderful.
Was he a dedicated worker, or did you always feel that he had something else? he had some other burning ambition to move and make a name for himself?
Well, it came obvious after a bit that there was only one thing he was interested in, was playing the clarinet. I remember the old blacksmith that was there saying he'd have made a good blacksmith, but he kept wanting to stick that bit of wood in his head.
We were at school together. He was a little bit older than me, not too much.
We went to different schools together.
But we lived a mile away in Woolard, and on Sunday mornings, my best memory was that we used to meet the Pensard boys, the Woolard boys used to meet Pensard boys in Lord's Wood. That was the wood, and go climbing trees and catching snakes and all sorts of things.
Snakes, did we?
And
who the hell can
I remember one Sunday we came back out the wood and this hedge was on fire by some straw mouths. I bet I can remember this.
Yeah, I do.
And we tried to beat it out with sticks and different things. But
how did the hedge catch fire in the first place?
We don't know that, do we?
Oh, we don't know that. No.
That was, anyway, Acker had this big brainwave. There was a big tank there with this pipe leading down from it, and he said, "Quick, lads, water." So we turned it on and sprayed it on that. That was TVO they used to use for the tractors. So it made the blades go really good.
We knocked around and he fancied himself as a cowboy a little bit once or twice. And the best memory I got of him in them days is he mounted a big cow in a place called the cow took off and shot him right off his back end. And unloaded about 3 weeks' supply. So he was...
That's so clearly he was a critic.
He had it from head to foot, Mike. Yeah, he got repaid on the spot. No, about 3¼ underweight. Oh.
What about when Acker went to London? I mean, what was the reaction in the village in those times?
He'll be back.
After that, he still came back, and that's what we admire about Acker. You know, he's never forgotten his friends, and it's great.
We're going to try a love song now. This is slushy and sickly and sentimental. It stinks. Oh. This is... enough of that. This is called Don't Roll Them Bloodshot Eyes at Me in A flat. Or anywhere. Very romantic. Just because you're pretty, think you're mighty wise. Tell me that you love me, you roll those big blue eyes. When I saw you last week, the eyes were turning black. Go find the guy that walloped you, ask him to take you back. I don't roll those bloodshot eyes at me. I can tell you've been out on a spree. It's plain that you're lying when you say that you've been crying. Don't roll those bloodshot eyes at me. I used to spend my money just to make it look real sweet. I wanted to be proud of you when we walked down the street. Don't ask me to dress you up in satin and in silk. Your eyes look like 2 cherries in a glass of buttermilk. So don't roll those bloodshot eyes at me. I can tell you've been out on the spree. It's plain that you're lying when you say that you've been crying. Don't roll those bloodshot eyes at me. Little romance has finally simmered down. You should join the circus, cause you make a real good clown. Eyes look like a road map and I'm scared to smell your breath. Better shut your peeping or you bleed to death. But don't roll those bloodshot eyes at me. I can tell you've been out on the spree. It's plain that you're lying when you say that you've been crying. Don't roll those bloodshot eyes at me. Don't roll those bloodshot eyes at me. Don't roll those bloodshot eyes at me. Where is it?
Welcome to the old bandsman's reunion. We're here outside the village pub, and all Acker's guests are original members of his old jazz band. Gentlemen, let's start with you, Cliff. Your early memories of the young Acker Bilk musician.
Well, my early memories are that I used to MC the Avon Cities Jazz Band in the very early days, and someone came up to me and said, there's a clarinetist, lives out in the country, and he wants to join a jazz band. Do you think you can do anything with it? So I said, well, I don't know anybody who's starting a jazz band, but I'll tell you what, I used to play drums, I'll go out and see him. So, being unable to tell him about any bands that were forming, we thought we might form our own. So, I didn't have a drum kit at the time, so I went down to Nickelberg's, I think it was, in Bristol, and spent about 35 shillings and got half a drum kit. And the rest of it was made by Acker, who was then a blacksmith, you see. I had a drum stool made of some scaffolding pole with 3 large bolts welded to the bottom of it. And I used to perch on bicycle saddle. And it all used to go in a string bag. And in those days, we used to wheel this drum kit around in an old pram.
By the time Q, you joined in, it was then the Chew Valley Jazz Band.
Yes, I think it was already called the Chew Valley Jazz Band. I was walking up Gloucester Road one Saturday afternoon, and I met Cliff. And
Whistling the Saints, was he?
Yeah. No, I don't. He said, we want you to join a band. I said, what? He said, playing the piano. I said, well, I can only play an F sharp. I said, that's all the black notes. You play on the black notes only, almost. And at that time, that was quite true. And he said, well, it doesn't matter. He said, but anyway, I went down and met Ack, and well, yes, within 10 minutes, I was playing an F instead of F sharp, but because Acker said, well, look, it's only down one semitone from there. Look, you'll be all right.
Plus the fact that I had my fist under his ear.
Now, Brian, I think they actually taught you to play the tuba as well.
Oh, Ack did, yeah. Well, I first met them, 4 young musicians at a meeting put on by Mrs. Xenia Field, who was the gardening correspondent for the Times.
Stanton Drew, wasn't it?
That's right, and they could play 4 numbers. And you played 4 numbers before the interval, then they had an interval, and you came back and played exactly the same 4 numbers all over again.
Bit better the second time, though, wasn't it?
No, not under the influence of that tea.
Oh,
It was,
well.
Just moving on to David Collett. Now, Dave, you really figured early in Acker's successful career because you co-wrote one of his first hits.
I did, yes, indeed. But the first time that I played with Acker was in the Clarinet when Johnny had formed and in fact coined the name, I think, Paramount Jazz Band.
Yeah.
And I took over, I suppose, from Q.
Yeah.
The first thing that Q ever said, that Acker ever said to me was, "Where's Q then?"
And of course, John, you were in the very early days as well. And the background to this Paramount name, because all jazz bands had names. I mean, Paramount was quite civilized compared to the Gut Bucket and the Gin Bottle Fours. I mean, what was the origin of Paramount?
Well, we thought of all the names and we'd listened to the music on the old records, and one of the companies from the 1920s was the Paramount Record Company, and it seemed to fit. At that time, we had the band, trumpet and 2 clarinets, Acker and Pete Connebeer, and we called ourselves the Paramount Jazz Band.
How would you say that the grassroots jazzmen like yourself have reacted to Acker's success? Because he made traditional jazz commercial.
Yeah.
But there are many purists who said it was heresy what he was doing, and he was clowning it out. That's nonsense. I mean, for myself, I was just very happy to have been a part of the early part of that.
Yeah.
And I think it was apparent to us that we were a group of local musicians, but there was someone in the middle there who was destined for greater things. He obviously had a lot more innate music sense than most of us. We enjoyed playing. Acker was destined for greater things.
There's a lot of friends here tonight of mine, you know. It's great to know you. And one's called Q Williams, and he's sat there and he's going to come up and have a blow with us. The other one is Dave Collett, who's a good friend of mine. Sit down, Dave. Somerset. Dave Collett, Q Williams. Where you go then? Ready, go. granary, look. What's left of it?
Acker, it's clear that many of the old stamping grounds and indeed stomping grounds have disappeared, have been renovated and refurbished. But here's one, and there's some work going on here. This is the old granary. In the early days, this is again one of your favouring holes. Of course, the Crown and Dove, really your spiritual home has gone.
Gone forever, yeah.
But I think although the band played a lot around these kind of places in the early days, it wasn't until you went to Dusseldorf and played there for a longish season for real money, £18 a week, that the band actually started to blend together and really establish some understanding.
£18 a week, that's true, it was, yeah. Well, we had to pay rent out of that. Actually, I mean, I couldn't do it now. We had 2 months in Dusseldorf in the beer bar. And the deal was that we played from 8 till 3 midweek and 9 to 4 on Saturday and Sunday with 2 20-minute intervals. What's that, 7 hours blowing a night? You know, sat down. But it licked the band in the shape, you know. We used to do, like, rehearse on the stage at the end, towards the end of the evening. There's many people in.
Tell us more about how a band really begins to blend together. I mean, you must know when you're playing well and when you've got some teamwork and understanding. How does that happen?
I think you know when you're playing good.
It's a chemistry, is it?
When the whole band's ticking along together, there's no feeling like it, really. The only way I can describe it is you're making 6 notes through the work of 26.
It may be surprising to an outsider that you've entered so wholeheartedly into the publicity side of show business. You always seem to be quite happy doing quite outrageous pieces of publicity gimmickry, some might say.
I got a lot of stick for it over the years as well. Not so much late. Well, I mean, when it first started, the bowler hats and waistcoats and all that. I think if you can get through to a lot of people, I mean, it's great. And as far as gimmicks go, I mean, I could play the clarinet out my left ear in a suit of armour. That'd be a good gimmick, isn't it? But if you couldn't play it very well, they'd only come and hear you once, you know.
And of course, I think the beard actually arrived after a publicity session where you had to put a false beard on and it caused you such aggro that you decided to grow one.
I thought I'd grow one. I had a few weeks to do this beard stuff. I thought, I'll grow my own. And it stuck. I mean...
Would it be fair to say that one time in your life, which was unsettling and worrying, was you did have a health problem, what, about 14 years ago?
Yeah. Well, I was lucky there, really. I had this thing called pericarditis, which doesn't leave a scar. It wasn't a heart attack as such. I didn't know at the time. I was playing down here, actually, in Bristol. I didn't feel very well going down. And coming back, you know, I think if you're ill, you really know it. You don't need anybody to tell you. And I stopped the coach. We were in Reading, and it was about a mile from Battle Hospital. So we leapt in there. And I was in intensive care about 6 days.
Were you nervous about going back to work, playing again? Did you think perhaps you could have lost some of your gift?
No, I didn't bother about that. I mean, every night's different. People say, can you play that again? I said, no, it's gone forever. That's the beauty about music, I think. Every session is different. I mean, we play the same tunes. When we get fed up with them, we change them.
So, of course, it's going to be quite a thrill actually to play in your own village hall again.
With my band, yeah. You know, I play with a lot of the old band and local bands, but never with my band.
You still a moment of history.
You never know.
You're the youngest member of the band, so one would have imagined that Acker would probably have been a schoolboy hero when you first started playing.
Yes, that's true.
And what sort of a band leader is he? Is he a hard taskmaster to work for, or how have you found it?
He's sitting just in front of me. No, it's fine. Yeah, he's one of the lads.
Richie, you've been keeping the beats on the drums behind Acker now for, what, 18 years? Has there ever been an incident on the road where you've seen him unsettled or ruffled or in any way upset by any incident?
Not that I can recall at all, and he's always been a true professional.
He seems to be terribly difficult to ruffle.
Well, he's just a natural. I mean, he's very laid back sort of in his manner off stage, and he just carries it on the stage as well. It makes you feel very relaxed when you're working.
Collingwood, you're the piano player with the band. How would you describe Acker as a musician and as a man?
As a musician, very inventive and original all the time, and as a man, a very good friend and good band leader, and I've enjoyed 12 and a half years in the band now.
Mike Cotton, you're the trumpeter with the band. You have been for how many years now?
17 now.
17 years. Before that, you led your own band very successfully. How easy was it to blend in with Acker as a new leader?
Oh, it was fine because as the boys say, you know, he's a natural, and everybody made me feel very much at home.
And how highly do you rate him as a jazz legend?
Well, he is a jazz legend, isn't he? I mean, everybody knows it. He's probably one of about 4 or 5 clarinet players throughout the world who immediately hear one of his records, you recognise who it is. And that's what all musicians strive for. And he's made it.
Tucker Finlayson, you've been the bass player with Acker Bilk now for 26 years, the longest serving member of the band. It must be a happy unit to stay with them for that length of time.
Of course, yeah, we all go on really well together. It's a kind of party on the road, really.
No arguments or fights at all?
Oh, occasionally. You're going to have that anyhow, but no, generally speaking, very good. We have lots of fun.
Jenny, you're the youngest member of the Bilk family. What sort of dad's Acker?
Very generous, very kind.
Have you got any particular musical talent?
I suppose I'd say that I enjoy singing, but nothing professional. It's more of a hobby, really.
Never crossed your mind that possibly...
It has crossed my mind, but I haven't got the confidence to do it as a profession, so I don't do it.
Acker, you really must have lost count of how many miles you've travelled over the years in a bandwagon like this.
Yeah, well, I've travelled a few miles in a bandwagon worse than this. I mean, this is big.
Do you always sit in the same seats?
Yes, it's sort of traditional. We were in a dressing room once that was shaped like the coach, and automatically we all went to the same seat. I thought, well, why is it not moving, you know?
Senorina Bonacera, it is time to say goodnight to Napoli. Oh, it's hard for us to whisper Bonacera, for that old moon above the Mediterranean Sea. In the morning, Senorina will go walking, where the mountains and the sun come into sight. And by that little jewelry shop, we'll stop and linger. I'll buy a wedding ring with your finger. In the meantime, let me tell you that I love you. Buonasera, Senorina, kiss me goodnight. I will go walking with the mountains and the sun come into sight. By that little jewelry shop with stop and look. I'll buy a wedding ring with me. In the meantime, let me tell you that I love thee. Gonna sail a city and kiss me tonight.
Acker was a very bright, imaginative publicist called Peter Leslie, who dreamed up the idea of the uniforms and the bowler hats.
Yeah.
When you started really rolling along.
That's right, yeah. Very clever guy. He had posters printed, you know, put out, like Bilk Bashes Brighter, Drink a Pint of Bilk a Day, and all these things around the jazz club.
And the Mr. angle really related to the working class background. I think you were concerned about the jazz world having counts and earls and dukes, so you went the other way and became...
Well, I'm Mr., yeah, that's right. With a face like this, if we're going to use Mrs.
But when it happened, the purists in the jazz world reacted quite angrily. They really thought you were a gimmick, some would say a clown.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, they did, actually. We had a lot of stick. But a lot of it, I mean, a lot of it was sour grapes, I think, because we were getting a lot of pictures taken and appearing on a lot of television shows, you know, and stuff. But I think the music was the most important thing. We were making records that were selling, you know.
But they have been concerned about your commercialisation, haven't they?
I think they have, yeah, because we were doing it better than they were. I mean, there was everybody going around jumped on the bandwagon. Everybody started wearing uniforms and calling themselves city gents, and a few, I won't mention any names, but there was a few. It was all right, you know. And people started trying to make records with string orchestras.
Would you think that because perhaps part of your image has been a show business image, it may well have affected your standing in the jazz world? I mean, don't you want to be looked upon alongside George Lewis and Johnny Dodds and the great masters of clarinet from your honor?
Well, yeah, I suppose that may be nice to be like that, but old Humphrey Littleton, he done the last sleeve note on our album. And he said, you know, he was very, very complimentary, and he meant every word. He wrote, said, I meant every word of it, you know. He's just trying to put the record straight. I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, it doesn't matter about the publicity and the gimmicks and all that, as long as the music's good, you know.
Haven't you ever perhaps nurtured just a desire to do a Benny Goodman and be regarded and respected by the long hairs and play a symphony at Carnegie Hall or the Royal Albert Hall?
Nah, I don't, never bothered with that. I mean, he done it pretty good, didn't he? Pretty good. Yeah, I mean, this is great tonight. I mean, this is not the Carnegie Hall, but it's the Pensford Palladium, mate. It's going to be pretty good. We haven't got a revolving stage yet, but we're thinking about one. Nice chap.
Well, this is it.
This is it.
Yeah. Acker's Retreat.
Yeah.
The new abode. Let's.
What do you think of the rockery?
Well, I'm sure that it will receive some attention before you finally settle in Acker.
Yeah. Like Rocky Mountain's more like it.
Quiet corner of Pensford.
Yeah.
The prodigal son comes home.
Terrific, eh?
Certainly a change from Egypt House, Acker.
Yeah. What we call, I don't know what we're going to call this. Somebody suggested Chateau Calypso.
Or Axe Back.
Axe Back. Yeah, that's it. We're going out the back, actually.
And this is a really spectacular view across the valley.
Yeah, it's nice, eh? Actually, out there, that row of trees nearest, you know, down the valley, that's Law's Wood, where all the poaching went on, so...
Let's go out.
Yeah.
The valley air.
Come and have a look. Lovely, eh?
Success, when it came, really was a theme that you originally wrote for your daughter Jenny.
That's right, Stranger on the Shore. Yeah, I'd call it Jenny originally, that was the name. and they used it as a TV series, and the series was called Stranger on the Shore, so off they went, changed the title, so that's all right. I mean, I've written another one since then for Jenny, so she's all right.
And that's the original Stranger on the Shore, and it stayed in the charts for, what, 53 weeks?
Something like that, yeah, it was over a year. But they had a top 50 then, nowadays. Yeah, I got a little, well, 2 or 3 little things it says on there. I didn't know, I didn't count it.
You must have played it a million times.
I suppose I have, getting on. It's got to be, yes. I mean, every night, for sure. For the last, well, 61 I recorded it. So what's that? That's nearly 30 years, isn't it?
And have you any idea of how much money it's actually pulled in for you over that period?
I haven't got a clue. Poured in a lot of money for the government, I think, and for a few other people, but I've done all right. I mean, I'll never be a rich man, but because I keep a band. I got a band going, you know. Very expensive. But that's good. I like being with a band. What's money anyway? I got enough to buy this place. It's great.
So this really is the place where you can honestly say, that's my home.
That's my home. That's it. This is it.
Where the sun sets in the sky, flowers never die, friends don't pass you by, that's my home. It's where the folks say I'll be on, and I know they mean it too. And I'm telling you, 'cause that's my home. And I'm always welcome back no matter where I roam. Just a little shack to me, it's home sweet home, and the streams and the rivers flow. Shady elm trees used to grow, you can say no more, that's my home.
And that was the last in our series, That's My Home.
Welcome back no matter where I roam, and just a little shack to leave, home sweet home. Streams and the rivers flowing, cider apples growing. I needn't say no more, 'cause that's my home. A flat.